Welcome to my channel, guys. We are going to be making these very fun centerpieces for any occasion. I'm specifically focusing on fall and Christmas. So these will be fun for your shelves or for the centerpieces for your tables. So stick around and I will show you the process of making these. I will be having affiliated links for all the supplies that you would need for this project. You purchasing through an affiliated link helps me grow on YouTube. It helps me be able to provide the supplies and everything that I need to make my videos for you guys. So please give that a look, and if it's convenient for you guys, go for it and purchase through those links. Without further ado, let's get to the supplies. So what you will need is mason jar rings, so just the ring portion. You don't need the little metal, I don't know what to call that, but the little popper part, or the little top. You just need the rings itself. And you will need 20 of these. So that requires definitely getting quite a few, because I know at my Walmart you can buy the rings, but you have to get the little centerpieces, which you could easily find another way if you're not into canning. Finding another way to do that with crafts. I can even show what I've done, if you guys care to know about that, of what I've done with the center parts of mason jar rings. But for this tutorial, it really doesn't matter unless you're really picky about it. I'm going to be doing mine specifically for my fall one with the gold. But if you can only get the silver, that's fine too. I'm going to be doing this one for my Christmas one. But they're so neutral, I don't see that it will be such a huge deal if you cannot get a gold one, or if you cannot get this one. They'll still look good because you're going to be covering them anyway. And if it bothers you that much, you can paint them. So that's another thing as well. So if you're wanting to go for a specific color, painting them wouldn't hurt. But you'll need 20 of them to do your little centerpiece. And then you'll also want, and I have a lot more here just because I'm extra like that, but you'll want to have at least 20 ribbons. So there's way more than 20 here, but you'll want to have them about, when I measured these, they were about 9 1/16 inch. So I think you really just need the 9 inches for sure to go around the ring. But I think to do that little teeny bit, just to overlap them, to make sure that they're more secure and it looks nicer. So have all your ribbons cut. But then you can even have really small ones. And this is what I was saying, it kind of depends on how many ribbons. Like, you need 20 for sure, but if you really wanted to have fun with some of your different colors, you could take, like, if you have skinny ones, and overlap them. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That's why I have so many here. I'm not even sure what I'm even going to be doing. I'm kind of just picked some colors that went together. And like I said, I got some here with like pumpkins on it. All sorts of fun stuff. And some that are just kind of more neutral colors and fall vibes. For my Christmas one is about the same, where I have just kind of a mixture of everything with really no plan. So I've got like some here that like got the truck with the Christmas tree. I've got some sparkly ones here, some with kind of snowflakes. I got some smaller ones here. So you can kind of have a lot of fun with this. And it all depends, because you may not even be doing for Christmas or for fall. These could be great for any centerpiece. So you could be doing St. Patrick's Day, or you could do Easter and have spring colors. So that's really fun about this. It's not limited to Christmas or for fall. These are just what I'm doing for this specific tutorial. But you can have thick ones, and then like I was saying, have some, like, because you could add a little bit more pop to that with a thinner one. So at least have 20. I probably have way more than 20 here, but that'll open up a lot of opportunities. So if you can't get 20, having just fun different ribbons will be just fine. You'll also want to have And you're not limited to this. This is just what I'm going to be playing around with. So with my fall one, I have these cloth-like leaves. So I might throw those as like my little center or something. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing. I'm just having things that are a possibility that I might use, you know. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I have this as an option. I also have a bunch of these left over from Halloween time from Dollar Tree. I got these tinsel-y, so I might use these for a vine. I'm not sure, but I have it just in case I decide to, if I feel like what I have isn't going to work. It's always nice to have just backup stuff. And so I have also, like, these are little, like, they're kind of foam pumpkins. They're leftovers from just other craft things. Like, you can get these sometimes at the end of Halloween. They'll have like these little floral things. Like, they're just foam, but this one has glitter on it. Or just little teeny, you know, odds and ends like that from floral stuff. Whatever you want to do, you can get kind of creative with that. This is generally what I'm going to be working with for my fall, unless I find something else in my little craft area here. But then for my Christmas one, I have a lot more Christmas stuff, so I have a little bit more to work with. I have like these little, some of these are like leftover wooden, kind of wooden signs. This one like says Merry Christmas, and it was from something else that I think broke and got thrown away, but I wanted to keep this part of it. Or you have little, like, these are all kind of wooden, but little tags and stuff that I might hang down. I don't know which ones I'll end up using, but these are all other possibilities of things to use. Like these different, like I said, they're kind of wooden little tags. So honestly, these were odds and ends from, actually these were gifted to me, so I don't know where you would get these. I will have very similar items, like I said, down below. And got a little bow here, left over from something. Like, oh, this is a foam Christmas tree. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit all of this, but these are possibilities that you could use. I have these plastic ornaments in this little tube. I don't know if I'll end up using them, like I said. I've got two different kinds. I got some that are Christmassy and then some that are more, you know, silver, but they're all sparkly. So I don't know if I'll end up using these or not, but I have them in my stash of Christmas stuff. So definitely see what you have that you're not using that can be used for crafts. You can totally use these types of things. I also have, I think these are like cranberries. Like I said, it was kind of left over with a lot of my floral things that I had just stashed that I could set in the center. I think a while back when Target was having, I think this was last year, I got these from Target on sale. And there's more berries or some holly. So you can go crazy with all that kind of stuff, especially this time of year where everybody is putting out a lot of the Christmas stuff. So you can definitely find things like this to put with it. You also want to have a hot glue gun and some glue sticks because we're going to be gluing down our ribbon to our rings. So we want to have that. If you don't have a hot glue gun, I'm sure you could use a fabric glue of some sort. I'm sure that would work just fine if you just don't happen to have this. I'm sure Mod Podge would work as well. I'm not the biggest fan of using Mod Podge, but I think for just underneath it might be okay. You don't want to get too liquidy with glue just because it does kind of, you know, squeeze through the ribbon fibers. So I would try and stick with something pretty basic that can dry pretty quickly so that it cannot do that. But I wanted to give you guys some options in case you didn't have hot glue. And of course you'll want scissors if you haven't cut your ribbons already. You'll want those. And I'm going to probably be having to trim up because mine got a little frayed. So trimming up little things as you're going as well. You're also going to need zip ties. I have 2 zip ties that I'm going to be using per centerpiece. I have one that's going to be white and then one, I didn't have enough white ones, so I have some black ones here. You'll want to have some that are at least 11 inches long. If you don't have zip ties, it's not a huge deal. This I think is just going to be the most secure way because zip ties are pretty sturdy and you have a lot of mason jar rings that you're going to be putting together and you'll want the center to be as sturdy as possible. So if you don't have zip ties, you can use string or yarn or ribbon. I just don't know how well it might hold together in the long term, and also with storing it. So try to get some zip ties. You can usually get a whole pack of them. The biggest thing is you're going to want to have to figure out, if you're like me and you literally just have this whole bunch of different things to work with, is you're going to want to figure out how many of things you have. Like my thought process is I've got 20 rings that I'm going to have to fill. So figuring out how many of each color you have and how you want that pattern to play out is kind of the biggest thing you're going to have to do. So I haven't figured that part out yet. So I'm going to be fiddling around here trying to figure out what I actually want to do with all my different ribbons here, because I have so many and I don't even know where I was going with my thought process with this. So this will be kind of fun to just kind of on the spot figure this out. So definitely figure out what kind of pattern you want going on, how you want to use your ribbons, and then we'll get to gluing them all together. Alright, so I was playing around here with all of my ribbons. Some of mine are off frame here because I have them all the way down my table. But I kind of was playing around with what I had, and I had only a couple yellow that had like this honeycomb on it. I think I only had like 2 that were like that, and then I had like a couple more that had just a solid yellow. And so that's why I was like, maybe if I added, you know, the thin ribbon to kind of give it that pop with all the other, with the pumpkin and all that. So that's what I ended up doing with mine, just to kind of have a pattern going around, because this is going to go around the whole piece, so it kind of spaces everything out a little bit. So you could do whatever you want. I think I had, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 different ribbons to kind of choose from. So that may vary with yours, depending how many ribbons that you have to work with. I'm sure you can go crazy with all sorts of different combinations and patterns. I mean, you can only have 3 and you can just do that all the way around. It's still gonna look great, but this is just what I kind of came up with doing with mine. So I'm gonna have to glue these onto my yellow here. I've got this one and I've got this one, and then we can start gluing all of our ribbons onto our rings and get going on this.
Under the boughs where the shadows play, the wind hums songs at the break of day. Whispering pines, secrets untold, carrying tales only the forest holds. Moonlight spills the velvet dark, etching patterns, leaving its mark. The roots stretch deep, the earth's gentle sigh, a lullaby sung to the open sky. Oh.
Alright, I've been gluing a couple of mine on. So I've been trying to just do little bits at a time, just because the glue will dry by the time I'm like fiddling with getting this all lined up. So I just been doing little segments and gluing just down the middle and watching to try and keep, because I did do that quite on this one, and I feel like it looks a little nicer if you kind of line it up where it doesn't cover this part of your ring, because this is the top part and then this is the part where you would screw it on. So I try to create where I allow that to kind of stick up a little bit. So I mean, these will all be kind of tight anyway, but it's a matter of my preference that I feel like it looks a little nicer trying to line it up that way. Just kind of depends on your ribbon too. But still got a few more of these to go, so I'll catch you up when I get all these all glued up.
Whispering pines, sing me your tune, caught in the rhythm of the stars and the moon. Teach me the language of rustling leaves, stories that linger
Alright, so I've got all of my ribbons attached and glued. I also made sure while I was gluing my ribbons to remember to keep them in the order that I had laid out. So mine go this direction, and that's how I'm going to attach it to my zip tie. So what you'll want to do is, if you're doing your ribbon method or whatever, just make sure you have one that's fairly long. I mean, I said that this needed to be, 11 inches at least, so I'd say for sure at least 15 inches, 15 to 20, just because you can give yourself some stuff to work with and then tie it in the center, and that's about how much we will be working with the zip ties. So you want to take your zip ties, and what you're going to do is, you've got, supposedly you should have little grooves on the end here, but I'm just going to be trying to get it where the actual zip part, you'll want to just attach that and slide it in. So like that. Where I went all the way. I went a little farther than I meant to, but you just need to get it where it's locked, but you still have a line. And then this is what we're going to just string our rings on top of. With your first one, and I'm making sure to keep all of my rings going the same direction. So this is the part where we got kind of that little lip, and this is the very top. So I'm going to be doing it where my little lip part will be on the right, and then that'll be on the left. So make sure every single one is going the same direction. So I'm going to be adding them on just like this. And don't worry so much about if you've got some ribbon like this. You can fix that once we've already attached it, because it'll be a little loose, so we'll be able to move them. So don't worry so much if you've got parts of your ribbon that don't look as good and you want to hide those. We'll hide them once we get to that stage. So just focus on stringing on your little rings here. And this is why we need it, because as you can already see, the one zip tie, as we go here, we're going to run out, because we got 20 rings here to add. Alright, so once it looks like you've got a chaotic line of stuff going on here, it looks a lot worse than it really will be. I at first thought the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Just want to start by adding your zip tie, and it'll start pulling everything together. Don't worry about any of your ribbons. We will fix all of that as we go. But right now you're just going to start getting it, and this will start pulling it all together. So it looks chaotic, but it's going to come together.
The forest holds moonlight spills the velvet dark, etching patterns, leaving its mark. The roots stretch deep, the earth's gentle sigh, a lullaby sung to the...
So it's gonna take a bit of time to get this all situated. Some of my rings were like on top of each other, so I kind of had to play with them a little bit and then tug a little bit. So after you play around with it, it'll even out, and you'll get more of that nicer look. I'm just gonna go around and kind of play with my rings and get them more in place and tug and just get everything to kind of line up the way I want it. So you'll have to kind of play with it a little bit to help set it. And then you'll want to clip your things too. So just work on getting that all set up as well. And then we can get to adding our centerpiece and decor on top. Alright, so I kind of fiddled around with these a little bit, and I kind of tucked most of my little parts where you could see the ribbon connecting towards the bottom and also towards more the center, so they just don't show. So now it comes the part where we kind of decide how we want to decorate them. While I was gluing on my ribbons and realized, I have some extra, I thought it would be a cute idea if you have any extra pieces of ribbon that you could like fold it. You may want to do it a little smaller than this, but you could fold it where it could be like a little stem in the center. So I thought that could be really cute. You could take just a thicker piece, maybe one that would hold up pretty well, and could do it as a centerpiece as well. But there, like I said, we got all the different options at the beginning of the video that I showed that you can use as well. So really get creative and work with what you have. You could even use like cinnamon sticks and things like that. It could be really fun with doing all sorts of different things. So I'm going to be playing around with mine because I really haven't decided what I'm going to do with my center. I mean, I had a bunch of little things that, you know, I could attach and glue and, you know, add to it. I think the more things you can add can be kind of fun to just add to the character of your centerpiece, whatever season you're trying to tackle. You can have a lot of fun with this. I was playing around because I had no idea what I was going to do with all the materials I had to work with. So this is what I kind of came up with. I decided I wanted to do the ribbon option for a stem, but just trying to find the one that went best with the colors and the schemes of what I have going on already with the pumpkin. I didn't have very much yellow going on, and so I had still what was left of my little it's kind of silvery but see-through. So I decided to do both to kind of add a little, I don't know, just something different that's a little more of a pop, because all the other ones are used so frequently, whereas this one kind of brings that yellow in a little bit more, and there's yellow with this. So I'll probably trim this a bit so that I can glue this down and attach it in here to have as a stem. And I'll probably just add this, and I have some leaves here that goes with the green. And then I'll probably add some pumpkins kind of throughout. I haven't decided if I'm going to use this or not. I might break it and use it as little pieces. I don't know if I like it so much bushy like this. It seems like it kind of contrasts a little much. But I might take the little bits and snip them and do them throughout. We'll see how I feel about that. So just kind of my thought process on going through this, and maybe to inspire you guys on what to do with yours.
Open sky, oh, whispering pines, sing me your tune, caught in the rhythm of the stars and the moon. Teach me the language of rustling leaves.
For those of you wondering about how long I'm going with my stem ribbon, it's just a little bit over 6 inches. That's probably way more, but I'm going to be gluing it kind of down in there, so I kind of wanted to have some stability, and that way it's not too flobby with it being up there. So just an idea for you guys to just have something to work off of, to know how much I'm trimming and going to use and all that, because I know it can be kind of hard to tell on camera.
Stories that linger on the breath of the breeze.
I had a bit of a struggle getting my ribbon to go down, so I took a end of a pencil to kind of help push it down, because otherwise it just wanted to kind of stick to the sides and not work its way down. So just to kind of help you guys get that all in there and secure, because it's a little tight and tricky.
The dawn paints gold on the mountain's crown, while rivers whisper truths as they flow down.
Kind of played around with it, but I kind of went pretty simple. I got the leaves and the stem and this little bit here. Everything else just didn't seem to get me excited. It just didn't seem like it went, and it seemed like it would be just awkward in some places. But here it is, all done. So I'm working on my Christmas one right now, and I was kind of fiddling around with placement of things. Nothing's set in stone yet. So I took my little holly here that had the leaves on it. I tried doing these. I wasn't loving how the branches and how I was trying to like drape them, and as I was going along, it just wasn't going the direction I wanted to, so I ended up just doing the cluster one. But I wanted the leaves, so I plucked a couple of the leaves off of these to kind of, I'm going to glue some of them in. These are kind of shifted, but I'm going to place them a little better. And then I'm going to put my little tree here. And then I really love my Merry Christmas little tag here. I'm not the biggest fan of having the big bow, so I'm going to snip off this twine and put a smaller amount of twine. I don't know if I'll just do a smaller bow or just have it where I'm dangling it down. I haven't figured that part out yet, but this is about my thought process so far with this and how it's coming along, just for inspiration. So I'm just going to be working on gluing everything down and going forward with everything.
Songs entwined with the trees that stand, knotted in time by nature's hand. Each echoing step on the forest floor opens a world through an ancient door. The silence alive, yet brimming with sound. In the arms of solitude I am found. Oh, whispering pines, sing me your tune, caught in the rhythm of the stars and the moon. Teach me the language of rustling leaves, stories that linger on the breath.
Alright, so here we go. We got our fun little centerpieces for the holidays. I hope you guys were able to make yours as well. I hope this video was helpful in giving you guys some tips and tricks throughout the process. And I hope that it inspired you to do a whole bunch of different centerpieces. I mean, these can be for any holiday, any occasion. They don't have to be pumpkins. They can just be a centerpiece. They're super cute, super fun. Please drop a comment below on how yours went or what you're thinking about making. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you know about the next videos that I post and that you're never missing out on all the new things that I have coming up. So thanks for watching. Until next time, guys. Bye.